from Hollywood. The Jack Benny Program. With Jack's special guest, Johnny Carson. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Now, on various occasions, I have walked out here on the stage and talked about the fan mail that I have received. You know, some good, some bad. But there are other ways besides fan mail where people show their appreciation. Like, for instance, well, how do you like this beautiful blue tie that I'm wearing? This came from a fan, you see. And take these shoes. They're a gift, too. See, and these shoes are made of real, genuine alligator skin. See? And, well, they didn't actually send me the shoes, you see. When I opened the box, there was a live alligator in it. I had to beat it to death. And you know, it was a species, a most dangerous species of alligator. I don't know the name of it, but it had a long blue tongue. The knot is one of his tonsils.
Mr. Benny. Mr. Benny.
People have sent in...
Benny.
Yeah? Oh, so soon?
Yes, right now. Right now.
Oh, well, I didn't expect... Oh, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't expect to do this so early in the show. But you see, Don Wilson is on the corner of Hollywood and Vine doing one of those, you know, man-on-the-street interviews.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Don Wilson speaking to you from the corner of Hollywood and Vine. I'm just going to chat with some of these good people passing by here and ask them what they think of our fine sponsor. Mister, excuse me. May I speak with you for just a moment, please?
Me?
Yeah.
Hey, that's a microphone. Hey, don't try to hide it. Hey, I know what you're doing. You're Alan Funt and I'm on candid camera.
No, I'm not Alan Funt.
Don't kid me. Boy, you look a lot fatter in person than you do on TV. Hey, what night is this show gonna go on?
But, mister, what I...
Hello, Alice, Elsie. Those are my sisters. You know, Mr. Funt, they always watch your program.
Look, that's just what I'm trying to tell you. You're not going to be on candid camera.
Oh, I'm not good enough, huh? You don't think I'm important? Well, let me tell you something, brother. I used to be a very big man. Once I built a railroad, made it run against time. Once I built a railroad, now it's done.
Jack, take it away to the studio. Take it away, Jack.
Well, it seems that Don is having a little musical trouble, so we'll get back to him later. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to get on with the show, it gives me great pleasure to present a young fellow who is doing a marvelous job on his own Tonight Show in New York City, Mr. Johnny Carson. Johnny, I want to welcome you to my program and welcome you back to Los Angeles.
Thank you, Jack. You know, I can't tell you how exciting it is to me to be here because I started right here in television about 12 years ago.
Right here in Los Angeles?
Well, not only that, but strangely enough, right in this very studio. I used to be an usher.
You were an usher in this studio?
Right.
You mean you used to be one of the fellas who would let the people in to see my show?
No, the other fellas let him in. I had to keep him in.
Keep him in?
I was sort of the opposite of a bouncer, Jack.
Oh. Well, now, Johnny, I know you're kidding.
You know.
I know you are. You're just making this whole thing up.
Well, you know I am, Jack. Can I tell you something honestly, though? When I was an usher here, 12 years ago, I used to watch you all the time.
Really?
And you were my idol. And watching you do your show was like kind of going to school. And I started to emulate you. You know, pretty soon I was moving my hands like you do. Mm-hmm. And after a little while, I was even walking like you do. And before you know it, I was no longer an usher.
What happened?
They made me an usherette.
Now, Johnny, getting back to you, you know, I know how accustomed you are to working in a certain set on your own show, so I wanted to make things as comfortable for you as possible.
Really, Jack?
Yeah, now I'll show you what I did. Open the curtains, please.
What do you want? Show you.
Yes, sir.
Well, Jack, I'll tell you one thing. You were right. You know, it does make me feel more comfortable and more relaxed. Just like home.
Well, I'm glad. Because, Johnny, you know, I'm glad to hear you say that because I have a few suggestions that I'd like to make. Now, I watch your show all the time, you see, and I have some suggestions to make that I think are of value. I hope you won't mind.
Mine? Jack, are you kidding? I mean, suggestions coming from a man who's been in show business for years and years and years and years and years. Jack, aren't you going to stop me?
Why should I? My career hasn't even started yet. Now, Johnny, I think you're a great comedian. I really do. But I have a suggestion to make. If you want to remain in show business and stay up there, I mean, you better start to develop some other kind of talent instead of just sitting behind that desk talking. That's not enough. There's a question how long you can get away with it.
I think I know what you mean. Now, you, for example, you just weren't satisfied with being a comedian and a monologist. You also mastered the violin.
Exactly. Now, that's the point I'm trying to bring up, Johnny. You should learn, have something else to do.
Well, Jack, now, I've never capitalized on this, but I can do some card tricks.
Card tricks?
Yes, I have a deck of cards here with me.
Oh,
maybe I can show you what I mean. It's a deck of cards, you see. I'll mix them up a little bit here. And we'll cut them. That? It's here like this, you see. Is that what you meant, Jack?
Well, Johnny, look, everybody does card tricks. They do it at parties. They drive you nuts with it. I think you should take up something, you know, perform like with a musical instrument or something like that.
Well, now, let's see. Now, about 20 years ago, I used to fool around with the drums a little bit. Now, I suppose I could, you know, get them out of the attic and brush up.
That's what I mean. That's the thing. Wait a minute. You can try it right now if you'd like.
Now?
Certainly.
Well,
Hey, fellas, would you bring out the drums, please?
well. You've got everything here, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Alligator skin?
I had some left over. Now, go ahead.
Jack, I really don't know. It's been so long since I played this.
Well, do the best you can. What's the difference?
Okay. How was that, Jack?
Well, I don't know. To me, without the fife and flag, it's nothing.
Now, Jack, I'll tell you what. Maybe I should just, forget about the drums. They're very noisy anyway, and I'll just stick with my singing and my dancing.
Oh, well, don't bother. You got the point.
I'd like to.
I know, but we haven't got time
see
now.
if I did,
I know, but we haven't the time now. Hit it.
First you put your two knees close up tight, then you sway 'em to the left, then you sway 'em to the right. Step around the floor kind of nice and light, then you twist around and twist around with all your might. Stretch your loving arm right out in space, then you do the eagle rock with a style and grace. Swing your foot way round, then bring it back. Now that's what I call ballin' a jack. Around and twist around with all your might. Stretch your loving arms right out in space. You rock with a style and grace. Swing your foot way round and bring it back. Now that's what I call ballin' the jack.
Now, Johnny, I don't know why I had to drag all of these things out of you. If you're that versatile, why don't you do some of that stuff on your own show?
Well, I'll tell you why, Jack. To be honest, I'm too busy acting.
Acting? You call that stuff that you do sitting there behind that desk, you call that acting? What kind of acting is that?
Jack, you remember the last time you were on the show with me?
Yes,
Do you remember what you said or what we talked about?
I think I do.
Well, now, let me show you something. Now, as long as you went to all the trouble to bring my set here, why don't you go backstage, and I'll reintroduce you, and I'll recreate that portion of the last show when you were with me, and I'll show you what acting. Go backstage. I'll give you the regular introduction like I
Then
gave
you'll
you.
show me that you can act?
I'll show you exactly what I mean. Just go on backstage. Please. I'll give you the big introduction, then you come out and sit and we'll talk. Now, Jack thinks that I can't act. I don't have to on this show. But you see, what the audience doesn't realize half of the time is that, well, they don't know what I'm really thinking. You know, the thoughts that actually go through my mind when I'm talking to one of the guests. I'd like to show you what I mean by acting. Are you ready, Jack?
Okay.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I come to one of those rare moments that makes this entire program worthwhile to me. A chance to introduce one of the all-time greats of show business. A man who's not only talented, but tremendously versatile. And certainly one of the sweetest and most lovable individuals in all of show business. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Jack Benny. Look at him milk that applause. He's doing everything but curtsy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you, Johnny. I want to thank you for that wonderful, wonderful introduction.
Well, Jack, you certainly deserved it. Why should he thank me? He wrote it himself.
You know, Johnny, I came to New York to relax and see a few shows, and enjoy myself. Understand? And I was hoping I wouldn't have to make any personal appearances on television shows. And how you found out that I was in town, I'll never know.
Well, Jack, let's just say it was one of those happy accidents. Happy accident. He's been in town 3 days, called me 29 times.
Well, Johnny, I'm sure you didn't ask me to come over here just to sit down, so what would you like to talk about?
Well, Jack, I don't think it makes any difference in the world. I think my audience would be interested in, well, in whatever you have to say. I think they'd hang on every word.
Well, all right, let's see. What shall I talk about? You know, I've had a lot of interesting experiences.
Oh, I hope he doesn't bore us with that story about what happened to him in Chicago.
Oh, I must tell you a story about what happened to me when I was playing at the State Lake Theater in Chicago.
Wonderful, Jack. Wonderful. You know, I never get tired of that story. I've heard you tell it at least a dozen times. Parties and benefits, and you do it so beautifully. Please, please tell it again. For this alone, I should get an Emmy.
Now, in order for you to appreciate the story, I have to read you a review I got on my act.
Oh.
You see, at the State Lake. I got it right here. Sometimes I carry it with me, sometimes not. You know.
That the review?
Yes, this is right here. Oh, it starts on the other side.
Some review. I've got a shower curtain smaller than that.
Now, I have to read the whole thing because every word is important. I just want to clean my glasses a second.
Oh, I've just got to stop him. I know. I'll fake a commercial.
Now, there we are.
Jack, I know you'll forgive me, but I have to interrupt here. It's time for a commercial. You understand? Business before pleasure.
Listen, I've been in this business long enough.
I know you'd understand, Jack.
Sure, I can read this after a while.
Ladies, you know, there are times when you're just too tired and you don't want to take out the vacuum cleaner, and yet there is dust and dirt and lint on the floor, sometimes even scraps of paper. Time to take out the old whisk broom and just... And, of course, your floors, again, are sparkling clean. Go ahead, Jack. Oh, for God's sakes. Look what I did. I tore up your review. I'm sorry, Jack.
Well, that's all right, Johnny. I just happen to have another one here with me. Sometimes I have two, and it's right here. I'll read this later. But they'll love this. I'll read it. But I'll tell you, I'd rather play the violin. You know, I brought my violin and I put it here.
Really?
I'd rather play the violin.
Look,
I'll play it now.
Jack, I'll tell you what. Look, I don't think it's necessary you play the violin. The only reason I wanted to do this scene was to show you how much acting I have to do on my show. And I think we've accomplished that.
I have a feeling that you don't want me to play the violin.
Exactly.
All right, all right. Down with the curtain, fellas. Now, Johnny, you've proved to me that you're a very versatile young man, and I want to thank you for being on my show.
Well, Jack, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. And may I say one thing to the audience?
That's correct.
I don't want them to feel that the scene we just did, anyway, reflects how I feel about you. I think Jack Benny is one of the greatest artists of all times and a wonderful performer. And Jack, I'm amazed how you go on year after year. Never seem to change at all. I don't know how you do it. But whatever the secret is, you found it. Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. He's sweet. But I don't know what's so amazing about it. I mean, practically every guest star I have says the same thing. You know, when you love show business like I do, you stay in it some way or another. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to play, for a change, something classical. The Wieniawski Concerto.
Oh, hi, Mr. Carson.
Oh, excuse me, fellas. I didn't know anybody was in here.
Oh, that's all right. We're just waiting for Mr. Benny to come off stage.
Well, you ought to be in a couple of minutes. He's just winding up the show now. Thought I'd borrow a little of his cold cream to take the makeup off.
How'd the show go?
Oh, great. As usual. You know something? That Jack Benny is absolutely amazing. I mean, the way he goes on year after year. He never seems to get any older. He looks the same year in and year out. I can't imagine how he does it.
Well, that wraps up another one. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the...
Must have pressed the button.
How long has this been going on?
We don't know. We started 15 years ago.
Well, Johnny, don't breathe a word of this to anybody, will you? I'll be back as soon as I can pull myself together. But first... Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you enjoyed the show. How about that finish we had? Wasn't that the most ridiculous thing you ever heard of? I want to thank Johnny Carson for being on my show, and I'll be seeing you folks soon.